Hello and welcome back. I am your host, Mr. Noir, and today we're going to be talking about some very interesting topics. Not too many, just enough to, kind of get you really interested in the channel. So today we're going to be talking about 10,000 days of life increments. I recently passed my 20,000th day alive on Earth. Right now I think I'm at 20,006 if I'm not mistaken. And I've really been thinking a lot about how to put this episode together and what I wanted to say to you. So, if you're 54 and getting ready to head into 55, you will also reach your 10,000 days of being alive. And congratulations to you. We've earned it. We've definitely come a long way since we were born. 1971 was not the best year. I mean, there's a lot of political and horrible things happening. Just got out of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Nixon wasn't in office. There's a little bit of chaos there, I think. I mean, I'm no historian. I could be completely wrong. You guys can correct me. I'm very happy to have reached 20,000 days. It's taken forever, it feels like. I mean, more than half my life. But it was a very motivational moment when I realized I'm at 20,000 days, and I'm not going to get to 30,000 until I'm 82 years old. And so I've got a ways to go before I get there. But seeing as how we don't know when we're going to actually conk out, I feel personally it's better to plan ahead and we can't control what happens in life, but if we can plan ahead and start making some superficial plans and say, okay, I'm going to establish a goal that I want to reach for my own life, my own happiness. And that's what I want to do. I recently had kind of a nightmare with my in-laws, like a for real nightmare, where I went to their house in Michigan and they were enfeebled. My mother-in-law's starting to crack a little bit, and my father-in-law is trying to get over a cancer diagnosis. But when I saw them, their house was dilapidated, which is completely the opposite of what it actually is. They had a broken back door, and there was these subhuman creatures jumping around the backyard. And you could tell that they used to be normal, but they had gone completely feral. And they were kind of shrunken down and smaller and a little bit more dirty. But they weren't speaking English, and they were scuttling around the backyard, and it was disconcerting to me because I saw the reaction of my father-in-law, and he acknowledged that he was aware of them, but he also said, "I'm too old, mijo, I can't do any of this stuff anymore." He's Puerto Rican, and so he realized what was going on, and he was like, "I just never thought my life was going to end up like this." He's in his mid-80s now. And I was like, "Man, Pop, I would love to be able to get you out of this situation." So I went to the backyard and set the whole thing on fire and cooked all the subhumans. And there was already some skeletons there that had gotten even more crispy after I burnt it up. But I was like, we got to clear this entire area of this. And so got them out of the house, got them out of the backyard, cooked them up real good. It was just a very unpleasant feeling seeing my in-laws like this and saying, if I had it in my power in reality to help you out right now, I certainly would. I would pull you out of Michigan, bring you to where I'm at, so that you can live a nice quality Norman Rockwell life with us. And I'm not saying that we're living the life of Riley over here, but at the same time, our situation is certainly better than what theirs currently is. And even more so when we lived in Maui. I mean, we brought them out to visit for a couple of weeks, and they were just like, holy crap, this is so nice. And now that we're in Arizona, it's still nice, but it's not nearly as nice as living in Maui. And so, yeah, it was a very strong motivator for me to say, I don't want my next 10,000 days to end up like that at all. I want to be guided. I want to be motivated. I want to make sure that my family is well taken care of. And so I want to make sure that this episode really focuses on motivating factors that you're using in your life to say, how am I bettering myself? How am I making these next 10,000 days the best of my life? Because obviously we can justify that we've reached our peak, we've topped out, and we're probably going on the downside of life. And that being said, we can't change that. That's how old we are. I mean, you might be a little bit older, you might be a little bit younger watching this. And if you're a little bit younger, maybe you're going to be able to wrap your head around everything that's going on in your life and say, this is not how I want to be living for the next 24 and a half years. That's not it. So my turning point was my dream, and I didn't want to see myself in the same capacity, the degraded capacity that I saw my in-laws in my dream. And I'm going to be working hard to avoid that. So I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of David Goggins. I'm going to put his picture up right there. He's not a super motivator for me, but I can acknowledge that how he's living his life is a motivation to a lot of people. He's done some incredible things. He was an obese, abused guy growing up. His father beat the crap out of him and didn't treat him very well. And what wound up happening was he gained a bunch of weight and decided, you know what, I need to change things up. So he went into the military, got super fit, became like a Navy SEAL or a Ranger or something, and was just kicking ass for a really long time. He got all kinds of awards for his fitness. They called him superhuman because he started doing ultra marathons where he'd run 100 miles. He'd do an incredible amount of pull-ups. And so he completely transformed his life and became super fit and a super motivator for a lot of different people. Me included. I mean, he was certainly a minor motivator for me. And when I think about just laying in bed and relaxing and doom scrolling Instagram, I'm like, you know what? That's not how I want to be. Like, get your ass up and do what you're supposed to. And it's hard for an adult of our age to have the motivation to say, get up, go do what you're supposed to. We don't have parents to correct us anymore. All we've got is memories of the lessons we were taught. And so, fortunately for me, I had a really good upbringing. My parents are both gone, but the upbringing I had was, my father was a bit of an enigma. He was a respiratory therapist, but he was also of the streets. He had a lot of ghetto friends, and he liked to hang out in ghetto environments. But he could easily code switch and go from ghetto to boardroom and talk to his medical team and say, okay, here's what I'm doing to take care of this patient. I'm going to give him a breathing treatment. I'm going to do everything a respiratory therapist would do. And he was a really huge motivation for me. And being able to see him get up day after day, year after year, and instill those values in me to be able to take care of my own family is obviously invaluable. So, whatever your motivation is, I encourage you to remember that these next 10,000 days are probably going to be the most important of your life, because you've got to establish really good relationships with your children, your siblings. If your parents are still alive, you want to make sure that they know that you're doing okay. When they pass away, you want them to feel confident that you're going to say, I got it, Mom and Dad. Thank you for everything. Now, you know how I am, getting a little misty, but just being able to tell your parents and your family, everything's going to be all right. I'm going to take care of that. You taught me well, and I'm going to lead a valuable life of service to my family and my children. So we've talked about Goggins, we talked about parents and my dream and my motivations, and I really want to talk to you about what motivates you. Is it money? Is it love? Is it living a better lifestyle? I mean, for me, it's all of those things at the moment. If I had the choice, I'd build a house on a nice patch of land, 5 or 10 acres, build some houses for my kids so that we can all live in the general homestead proximity of each other. If the grandkids want to run across the field and go back to their aunt's house or whoever, they should be able to live in a little compound per se and say, you know what, I want to go visit grandma and grandpa, leave their house, run safely across the field, get to our house and have lunch or whatever, play around with us. And so those are my motivations. I want to be able to take care of my family and give them property that they can say, you know what, they're not growing any more property. So I'm glad that we got this little patch of land for ourselves. I've got too many people relying on me for me to slack. I can't slack. And I'm fine with that. I had kids for a reason. I got married for a reason. I love the woman I'm with. I love my children. I would do anything for them, just as I'm assuming you would as well. So just having them as my motivation is obviously a real help. I can't even imagine me living in a car with my kids. It's inconceivable for me to even think about my family not thriving. And to help facilitate that, and because of my most recent cardiovascular heart issues, I've decided to apply for disability for a little while. I was talking to my cardiologist literally just yesterday, and he gave me a projected plan of action to how we're going to get me completely restored. And I liked everything he said. I told him we are switching to vegetarianism. We've been eating super healthy. We started doing the Mediterranean diet. And, you know, that's fine, but it seems like a mere step in the right direction, not a full shift. And so rather than play around and kind of meander into doing the Mediterranean and then going into vegetarianism, I just cut out all of the bullshit and said, you know what, I would much rather just eat vegetables for a whole year, see what kind of improvement I can obtain or establish in my own heart situation. And I'm just going to eat vegetables. I mean, I've got a little bit of meat left in the house. I've got some chicken, I've got some fish, but for the most part, I'm switching the whole script and I'm going to be doing vegetarianism. I mean, I'm not even eating eggs, which is crazy for me. To replace the protein that I'm going to be suddenly lacking, I'm going to have more green vegetables, more beans, things that have natural proteins in them. And obviously I'm going to take my supplements, my omega-3s and stuff like that. Because, you know, vegetables are good, but they're not great as far as nutritional value. They're good to help maintain your body, but they're not going to restore and help build muscles. They're vegetables. I mean, they can only do so much. So I'm going to be going from a solid meat eater to vegetarianism. And I'm also going to get this disability situation sorted out. And I'm not proud of that. I mean, nobody wants to admit that you're getting older or that you're not as vital as you used to be 10 or 20 years ago. But, you know, I'm an adult. I can say I'm not as sharp or as youthful as I'd like to be. I was proud of myself walking half an hour on the treadmill. I was like, hey, look at that. But, you know, big picture, in a year from now, when I'm able to jog for 5 miles and there's no heart issues and I'm feeling great, I'm nice and thin, I'll feel really good about that. And it's those little milestones that you have to kind of keep reaching for. The stepping stones where you say, I see where I'm at, I know where I want to be, and I'm going to take all of the required steps to get there, regardless of the inconvenience or the lack of pleasure in doing the things that I just want to do. It's not about wanting to do things, it's about doing the things that are right and knowing the difference between taking it easy and doing the hard things that'll get you somewhere. So I'm not going to keep prattling on, but whatever your motivations are, really start to focus on them. excuse me, really start to focus on them and kind of put your life in order. If you need to write it down in a journal, or you need to use your phone to write down the motivating factors in your life, do that. I'm just going to cut in and say, for my own children, when they were growing up, I would explain to them, you're like a tree that's growing. And as you get older, you start to curve. And your parents push you back straight until you finally start to curve on your own again. And then hopefully they push you back straight again. But the more you curve, the harder the correction is going to be on you. And ever since my parents passed away, as an adult, you have to self-correct. You have to recalibrate your entire life. And so do that with yourself. Understand that you're still a tree, you're still growing, and you can still curve in the wrong way or straighten up and do the right thing. And you'll feel much better after you've self-corrected because you know that you're capable of doing it. And that's the most important thing, having the drive and the motivation to really take care of the things that you know are most important. And that's what I'm doing, and I hope that you're doing the same. So what are you going to do for your next 10,000 days? Because I'm of two minds about it. If I'm 82 years old and I realize, you know what, these last 10,000 days have been pretty great, or I don't feel as sharp or as crisp as a fresh-faced 80-year-old is, and I realize my time is coming to an end, part of me wants to do the Norman Rockwell thing where you have your family and your kids surrounding you in a deathbed, and you're like, we love you, Grampy. Take it easy. We're going to see you soon, and we hope your afterlife is pleasant and whatnot. Or I've always thought this was a cool idea. Going back to Hawaii and climbing up on a rock and jumping into Kilauea. You know, not the super hard lava, the one that's pretty juicy where you'll go under and just go. If you could pull that off, what a way to go. Give yourself back to the earth, jump into a volcano like they used to sacrifice virgins to, and just say, you know what? I did it all. Now I'm going to be part of the earth again. Ashes to ashes, vapor to vapor, and because you'll crisp up real fast jumping into some lava. So I've got two different ideas about how I want to go out. I'm not trying to dwell on it, but at the same time, you know, do something fun. And I'm not saying jump out of an airplane. That's not quite enough. That's not a story your kids will talk about. You remember when Grandpa decided to jump out of that airplane and the parachute didn't open? Boy, that was a mess to clean up. I don't want to do that. I want something that's no mess, kind of cool to tell your grandkids about and say, well, my dad decided to jump into a live volcano when he was 82 years old because he saw the end of the road coming. And he was like, you know what? I'd much rather it be my decision than death show up at my door and go, okay, time to go. No, I don't want that. So this is the end of the episode, but I'm going to start giving you guys reliable tips to grow on. And this week's tip is, I'm sure you guys have stumbled putting on your pants, where you put one pant leg on all good, and then when you go to put the other one on, you start keeling over. You're like, oh shit. You don't know what's going to happen. Maybe you just got out of the shower, your legs are wet, and they don't go up the pant leg super smooth. Happened to me 100 times. But the key here to not injuring yourself or throwing out your back or hitting your head on something sharp is to remember this simple thing. If you're tipping over, let go of the pants. Just let them go. They'll drop down, you'll reestablish balance, and you'll save yourself a lot of injury, a lot of embarrassment if you do something silly. And because your family's showing up with half your pants down and you unconscious bleeding on the floor is not the look. So just let go. And it correlates to other parts of your life. If you've got a lot of pressure and you're trying to achieve a goal that just ends up being unachievable, you just have to say, I'm going to let this go. And I'm going to say, clearly this is not attainable. And there's no harm in failure if you realize I'm not going to keep doing this over and over again. I'm not going to keep risking my life or my safety or my health over something silly, just getting your pants pulled up. What a stupid way to go out. I'd be super pissed if I'm trying to reach my next 10,000, my 30,000 days, and I conk out because I did something stupid like tripped over my pant leg. Come on, bro. I can't even imagine. What a stupid way to go. So take that and correlate it to your own life. Just let go of the dumb shit. Don't be mad all the time. Don't be evil at all. And take care of your family, but also do what you have to do within your own capabilities at this time in your life. If you're 54 like me and you've just hit your 20,000 days, you should have some common sense built up to say, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I watch Instagram all the time of people getting on bikes and crashing into trees and doing all kinds of dumb shit because they won't let go of the thrill. There's nothing wrong with getting a slightly lesser thrill, to keep the adrenaline up. But going 50 miles an hour through a wooded forest on a bicycle and then crashing into a tree and doing the scorpion as you're flipped backwards, come on, dude. I got better shit to do. So this is the end of the show. Thank you once again for stopping by. Ran a little bit longer, but 20 minutes ain't bad. Thank you so much for popping by. You'll see me in a few days with episode 3, which we will be talking about artificial intelligence and how it's affecting my life and it's going to affect your life in one way or another. It'll either go great or it'll go really bad like the Matrix, and anything bad could happen. Or the Terminator. There's a bunch of bad stuff examples that I'm not trying to go down. But next week we'll be talking about AI and how I'm using it on my end, not just for regular work, but to better my life, and using the intelligence of artificial intelligence to raise ourselves up and uplift and just be better people through this automated tool that we've now got. So thank you so much for stopping by. I look forward to seeing you again and hearing your comments about this episode. Definitely interested in building this rapport with you. Thank you so much, and talk to you soon. All right.